Hi guys, welcome to part 4 of the giraffe tutorial. So this part of the tutorial is really exciting because now we get to connect all the areas that we have drawn before. So this part is not going to be as complicated. I think you guys are going to start to really get the flow of things and how it all works. So just an important thing that we need to take note of before we start is make sure that the entire bridge of the nose is etched out with your etching tool and the texture is there before you start putting your color down. And the only thing that we really have to notice on the reference photo is the shapes on the bridge of the nose with the darker values. So we want to pay attention to those different shapes and we're going to build it up from there. So we're going to start off by finding those shapes and then we keep building up on those shapes and we keep working on the rest of the area. So I'm going to let you guys get started and then we can discuss a little bit more about what we've achieved at the end of the video. Okay? Okay, so the area we're going to work on is the entire bridge of the nose, the top of the eye over here and the top area of the eye over here, and we want to connect all of this together. So I'm going to start off with my Sepia PC948 and I'm going to shade the darkest areas that I can see on the bridge of the nose. So focus on all those little shapes that you can see so that we know where to put our darker values compared to our lighter values. So over here, the giraffe's got quite a different shape. So we are going to just have an indication of that shape being there. We're not worried about details, we just want to get our colors down and our layering done so that when we blend with solvent, we're ready to add those details. Okay, so right next to this shape there is a shadow over here. So as you work on an area, if you notice right next to it that there's another area that you're going to need to use the same color, then go to that area because you can find that area easily compared to the shape that you've just filled in, and then put that shape in, and that's kind of how you work around until you've utilized the space with the same colors. Okay, so from this shape I noticed that there's more of a darker shape over here, so I'm going to jump to that one. I can see that just above the nostrils over here there's almost a value in a way that looks like there's two lines that are going up towards this way. So here is an indication of a line, and here is a little V shape. Now we're getting to the beginning stages of how we connect different areas. What's wrong, honey? The weather's not all that great and my dogs want to go outside. So honey just gave a little cry or a little moan. She has to let me know when she's not happy. Do you want me to put your cozy bed under the table? Hey? Let me go do that. Okay, now my girls are happy under the table. So, trying to keep observing those darker shapes. And then observing and following as we go ahead. So we can see that this area from the eye, this pointy area over here, is darker. So we're going to use that as another indication to try and find other areas. So just above here, there's a shape here. Just gently going to put in there. And right next to that shape, we've got darker shapes over here. Now we get into an area where we really have to be observant because we have these creases on top of the eye. So let's start at the bottom of this shape. We can see that it goes to here. Okay, we follow this one along. We can see that it's got a darker area over here, and then very light indication going down. Right next to it we have another darker area. Oops. And a very light indication of the crease following down. See how we found the darkest shadow, so we can move that until it attaches. That sort of walks its way along. And then we start seeing a darker line sort of flowing towards the top knob of the head. There's a shape here that's quite dark. And then we follow that along. And now we're able to start identifying where these connections are going to be made. So when we did the horn part, we just kind of left it over there. And now we're going to start focusing on how to connect these areas properly so that they flow. There's almost a line that goes almost straight towards this area here. Okay, and then we have to connect these sorts of areas. Okay, now on the side of the eye, there is a dark line that goes not very thick, but there is an indication that it's darker in this area. And then on this eye, I think I'll just continue on to the side of this area as well. I know I said the bridge of the nose, but I think it'll be good to do this area too, because the rest of the chin will all just be a lot more basic. So let's do the more complicated areas now. So just using soft little strokes like this. I want to start showing this area of the giraffe. So there's a subtle shadow from the eye that goes sideways like this. And then just soft little strokes that go in this direction. This area is quite light. This shape goes further along. Now we are just going to still continue using this pencil, but we want to create the soft strokes sort of around everywhere. So even though this area of the nose is going to have, or the bridge of the nose is going to have more of a golden color, we still want to indicate some areas of darker pieces of hair. So we're going to add some random little strokes everywhere to make it look more natural. So I just dropped my pencil and it made a big dot there in an area that's supposed to stay light. So I'm gonna, when I get to this area, I'm just gonna try and have one of the spots sort of transform into there because there's no way I can get that mark off my paper. Or I could use a little craft knife to scratch a layer off of the paper to get that off, but I'll see if I need to do that later on. Okay, so I've just sharpened my pencil and now I want to do those, just some of those strokes everywhere. Just create the softest, shortest little strokes. Still continuing in the right direction. But putting those strokes in wherever we see that we need those darker, occasional dark areas of this color. This is going to enhance all the value areas and it's just going to add to the realism. Okay, so by doing just that, we are able to see which areas are dark. So I need to do more of that over here actually. So now we have a better understanding of where exactly our shapes are and how we can start enhancing the right colors in the right areas. So we can see this area over here is dark and this area over here is going to be lighter and it just has that one dark shape in the middle of all of it. We can see where this area is going to be darker and we can see that these areas are going to be lighter over here. So that just helps you. It really, when you do this as a first layer, it gives you a good guide of where you are at all times and it makes it easier to find areas and just build up from there. So I've noticed that these areas over here need to be even darker because it just looks like a line over there, which is there, but it has other areas that are just as dark next to it. So this also helps to make you find the areas that need any enhancing. It's all about creating those shapes and then following them along as you go. Now I'm going to use my dark brown, PC 946, and add that richer brown color among these darker values. We're also going to use this color to create those strokes like this, everywhere where we created the previous strokes. Now we are starting to build up the colors around the first layer of shaping that we just did. And then this all starts to show beautifully when we get to use our solvent to blend. Okay, so this spot is starting to bother me, so I am going to try and remove it. So I have a blade over here, and all I'm going to do is gently sort of scrape the top layer away. Do not do very much because you do not want to get a hole in your paper. Unfortunately, this does add a texture to the paper, but lucky for us, we're drawing something that's textured. If this was on skin, smooth skin, it would not have been a happy moment for me. Okay, that is a little bit better. Okay, now I'm coming in with my Espresso PC1099, and I want to enhance those darker areas on the nose because I don't want to lose them as I start to layer and layer. Okay, that's already starting to look really, really good. So now I want to give it that golden look, but before I give it the golden look, I think I'll give it more of the red tinge. So I'm going to use my Burnt Ochre PC943 and gently put this color in everywhere around the dark areas. Just use the side of the pencil and sort of just color in those areas gently. So this is only really on the bridge of the nose. It's not going to be too much on the sides or anything. Okay, the color does follow along a little bit over here. And that is about it. Use a tiny little bit over here. Not too much. And then a little bit around in this shape as well. Tiny bit above the eye. A little bit in here. Okay, now we're going to come in with our golden color. So we're using our golden rod PC1034, and we want to add that tinge of gold in there. So just what we've done with our red pencil or with our burnt ochre, we're going to do the same with this one to give it that nice golden color. Don't overdo it in this area because between these creases it's quite light. So you want to just have gentle indications of that color around, but not too much. Tiny amount in the eye. Okay, now we are going to use 20% French Grey PC1069, and we want to go in all the light areas. Go in a small up and downward motion, make sure you're going in the right direction. Because before we layer with solvent, we want to have a layer, at least one layer of pencil on our paper before we layer. So let's say, for instance, we're going to put our solvent down now, and these areas don't have any color on them. It makes the paper look almost dirty. So you want to have color down, even if it's white, but you want to have a layer of color pencil down before you put your solvent down. Okay, it's already starting to get a nice realistic feel, and we haven't even put the solvent down yet. But now we are finally ready to put the solvent down. So I am going to use this brush. It's a firm brush. I just bought a cheap set of brushes. Like it doesn't matter what sort of brush you use for blending. But this is a number 2 West Art acrylic India brush. So yeah, and you can see that it's quite a firm brush. So that's what I'm going to use for blending, and I'm going to dab it into my cloth until it almost feels dry. Like it should have the tiniest amount come off on your finger. There shouldn't be much at all. And that is what we're going to use to blend. And then we have to do it again. Because we have so little on our brush, we're going to have to do this all the time. You will only be able to blend small areas at a time. But it is very important that you hardly have anything on your brush, because otherwise the color is just going to go into all those scratches that we created, and it's not going to give you that texture that we want. Okay, so now we just did our first layer of blending with the solvent, and we can see that the nose still needs, or the bridge of the nose still needs to be a lot darker than what it actually is. So we are going to enhance all those colors. So I'm going to come in with my black pencil. Be very gentle with this. You don't want to make it too dark. So just those real dark areas, I'm going to use soft little strokes with my black pencil to make those areas darker. Okay, that looks really good. So now I want to add more of my brown oak, my burnt ochre, to add that red back into it. So that is my PC 943, and I'm going to use a little bit of a firmer hand and color in everywhere that needs the red. Because this area and the mouth have the richest areas of color on this image. So we want to make sure we keep those areas rich. Okay. Now I'm going to use my chocolate color PC1082, and I want to add this color all over the top as well. This is a nice rich brown, so this is just going to enhance the colors more. Okay, I like that. Now I'm going to use my 70% warm grey, and some of my darker grey areas I want to focus on enhancing those colours. Okay, I'm going to blend again, very gently, hardly anything on my brush. And whatever colors I have on here now is what I really want to enhance and pop out. And then if they are all dark enough, then we can try and focus on some highlighted areas, and then we are finished with this section. Actually, before I continue layering, I want to come in with my espresso color, PC1099. Before I end up continue blending. And I want to use this color around all the black areas that I filled in, because I don't want anything to look black. I just want it to look brown. And this espresso color is just going to enhance the black to make it look a little more brown. Okay. Now we can carry on blending. So that's just naturally started to connect with all the other areas that were right next to it, because we paid attention to our color and our texture, and the flow just looks so good and correct. So I now want to use my white Prismacolor pencil, and I want to try and emphasize some of the lighter areas, because some of these areas can be a little bit lighter and I want to put focus in them. So over here we have some light areas, so go in the right direction, use a very sharp pencil and try and make some of these areas lighter. I am quite satisfied with the look of that. I want to add more, just a tinge more of the darker value on those dark shapes. Okay, now I want to finish off the eye. So I'm using my chocolate PC1082 and just defining some of these little soft hairy bits in this eye. I guess this is more of the eyelid. Okay, now I'm going to use my Peach Beige PC1085. I'm going to create some really tiny little soft hairs. And then I'm going to use my espresso color and I'm going to fill in those soft edges. Then I'm going to use my white and try and lighten up these areas over here. And then I'm going to use a little bit of my light umber PC 941. Lightly shade this bottom area a bit more. And then I'm going to blend with my solvent. This time I'm using this brush. It's a number 2 Protege brush. Okay, and then the last thing I want to do is just enhance this shadow line over here, or this bridge of the nose line, which separates that area a bit more. And I'm using my Sepia PC 948 to do that. Okay, so I just had another close look, and the way I'm looking at my picture is that the hairs on the bridge of the nose just look like they're all just going too straight in one direction. So I am going to use my black PC 935, and I just want to try and make the illusion that some of these hairs are going in the other direction. Just a little more to the left. And that's already doing the trick. Yep, just a tiny little change like that is enough. And I'm happy with that. I do think as well I want to add more of this. It's the Goldenrod PC 1034. And I want to enhance the gold on the bridge of the nose. There we go. And a little more gold over here too. Alright, and that is the bridge of the nose done. So now we can go ahead and do the chin area. So we're going to do this whole area over here, and then we will reassess and see what to do next, or if we need to go any further with the rest of the giraffe head. Right, now you guys have finished the bridge of the nose, and I'm sure you're looking at the picture and being like, wow, it's all starting to come together. So the things that we learned in this tutorial is that we need to make sure that our paper is etched out properly in the beginning before we put the color down. And now I'm sure you guys can very obviously realize how good a technique that is to use, and just what sort of great effect it gives the drawing in terms of realistic textured hair. Because those really fine lines that you can get with your sculpting tool, you cannot get them quite as fine as that with your pencils. Your pencils are just not sharp enough, or they do not hold the sharpness for long enough to get those really fine textures to come out. So the other thing that we learned in this one is that we need to pay attention to our darker shapes and make sure that we keep enhancing them as we go, and that they don't end up fading into the background as we progress with the colors that surround it. So that was the main thing. It wasn't too challenging, I hope, and I really want to see if you guys have gotten to this point of the tutorial. please send me your progress photos. I want to see how you guys are getting on with it, and I'm sure the rest of your patrons want to see how you're getting on with it as well. So next up, we're going to be doing the whole chin of the giraffe, and then we'll have the complete head finished, which is going to be really exciting. And then afterwards, for a whole tutorial, we're going to do the entire neck, because it's going to be the same sort of process from the top of the neck to the bottom of the neck. And then I may just time-lapse some of the pieces when I think you are when I feel that you'll be confident enough to really approach it, and then we can move it on a little bit faster. Because the neck covers such a big area, it'll probably take me 2, maybe 3 hours to draw, and I only want the tutorial for the neck to be an hour long. So I will keep discussing things as we go, and I'll make sure that you guys know exactly where you are at all times throughout all the tutorials. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next tutorial. Bye!